Now then, welcome back for some more tattoo reviews. Today I'm going to be looking at some WWE wrestlers, which is quite a big source of inspiration as to why I originally started getting tattoos, so this could be quite fun. Let's have a look. First off, I'm going to look at this guy, the Undertaker. So this guy is one of the main sort of things or people that got me interested in tattoos in the first place. I started watching WWE, or WWF as it was called back then, when I was a kid, and I just used to think the Undertaker was like the coolest. I've always been into that sort of, like creepy, dark, occult imagery and stuff like that. So when I started watching it, he always stood out loads. But anyway, his tattoos. So it's hard to get a good photo, because all the photos of him, really, they're just in, like, he's in action, he's jumping, he's fucking choke slamming someone or something. So this is probably the best photo I could get, and it's quite an old one, as you can see by the fact that he still has hair. Straight away, I just love the style. This, I don't know if I'd maybe call it, like, it's not traditional, but you'd have to use the word traditional in there, I think, but not in like a traditional tattoo sense. Just the like typical 90s, like spooky. It was, I don't know, it was like a real big thing at one point. It kind of like reminds me of like Rob Zombie artwork, like devils and demons and like things with like big tongues and horns and shit. He's got like, it looks like kind of like lost souls or something here. I think there's like, it looks like there might be individual faces, unless I'm just reading too much into it. And then there's like a kind of like a fucking wizard or something. Looks like the guy out of, like Big Trouble in Little China. Kind of vibes, like a sorcerer or something. Which, style aside, or like technique aside, I think it's just fucking cool, really. And then we're going to go down to this like devil head, which is straight from a fucking 90s flash sheet, I'm sure of it. All of this probably is, to be honest. It's probably all just 90s flash. He's picked it off like a, there'll have been a sheet where there was like this guy on one side and then like an angel woman on the other side, probably. And he's got some skull and crossbones, which is classic, and then some kind of, looks like smoke plumes, and some more skulls. It's all very dark themed, it's like souls and skulls and demons and shit, which, it's all cool. Looks like we've got half a skull there. There's some kind of like, it's like teeth or something on his elbow there. You can't really tell what it is, but I don't care. I just think it's really cool. It suits his style a lot. They're not really like the most well done tattoos I've ever seen, but who knows how long this guy has had them. It used to be rough back then, getting tattoos. Obviously, he probably got, well, he'll have definitely got some of them before I was even born, I'd imagine, but, as time goes on, tattoos are getting better and stuff, and as a product of the time, I'd say these are pretty fucking cool. They're like that, it's all like trippy, weird fucking wizards and skulls and shit. But yeah, cool as fuck. That's my verdict. Let's move on. Right, next up we have got this guy, CM Punk. I've had to get a photo from when he had his unsuccessful UFC run. I don't know which fight that's from, but it's the only sort of photo I could get where I could see plenty of his tattoos. He's got a lot of traditional going on. That's definitely like his vibe. He's got the cobwebs, the trad rose. That looks like it's a little, is it a snake or a, yeah, it's a snake. It's like a cobra. There's its head and there's its like flared out gill, not gills, you know what I mean? It's cobra neck. It's got like a snake that's like a, what's it called? Like a Mary, isn't it? But as like a skull. He's got it's kind of like Japanese inspired traditional there on his chest going across. Swamp thing there. Is that like a, could be like the back end of a koi carp, or maybe that looks like the front of a koi carp actually. lucky clover and loads of little traditional fillers. He's even got your little swallow and your trad stars that people tend to get in the backgrounds of sleeves. I hate this. I hate this quite a lot. Straight edge. I don't like all capitals for like script or fonts or anything like that. I think it just looks crazy. I think lowercase would have read a lot better. Maybe have the S and the E capitalized, maybe, or just all of it lowercase. I think the lowercase versions of like English Gothic they read a lot better from a distance. The only reason I know what that says really is because I know what it says, if that makes sense. If you just look at it in fleeting, you can't really read it. It's not too cohesive. As far as the rest of his tattoos go, I'm not really a big fan, but they're all right. They do what they say. I think the issue I've got is the clutter of it. If he had like a tattoo here, a tattoo here, a tattoo on his elbow, in all the classic, like the creator character locations that you get tattoos, and then he'd had it like worked together into a sleeve with some background and stuff, that'd probably look a lot better than this, where it kind of looks like he's just jumbled a lot of his ideas together into a sleeve. It's that it happens quite a lot. You get people being like, I want to get this tattoo on my forearm, and they get the forearm tattoo, and then later they decide they want to turn it into a sleeve. So then they've kind of got a tattoo in a place that, like a cohesive sleeve would have benefited from having that space and that in mind initially. So if you're getting a sleeve, it's always best to say that you're getting a sleeve, that you want a sleeve, rather than getting little tattoos to make up a sleeve. If you're going to later want it joining together, just get that right from the off, rather than trying to bodge it afterwards. Otherwise you get this kind of messy, unthought about layout. They're not bad at all, and I do like traditional. I think it's more the color choices that I've got problems with. It's all just a bit too, I don't know, like the kind of thing you'd see on, I don't know, it's too, the colours don't work together a lot of the time. I think that's a big problem. Like this blue and this green and this orange and red and stuff just don't really look aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, not the worst. Let's move on. Right, next up we have got someone who was at one point one of my favourite wrestlers, Jeff Hardy. I always remember him, similar situation at The Undertaker. I used to think, yeah man, that guy's cool, he's got tattoos, I like his vibe. I think he probably, impacted my younger self into making the decision to get tattoos to a certain extent. Same with his general vibe. I always, he was like a mosher. That was his thing. He was always like the black, the baggy jeans, the boots, the metal music, that kind of thing. So I'm quite into all that, and always have been. So I think I always like resonated with the Hardy Boys. This tattoo looks really cool. It's like I think it's like a big tree, and then on his ribs and his back, it's actually got like a dragon or a snake wrapping around it. Probably a snake from the looks of things, because I can't see any limbs, but I'll have a look from another angle shortly. But this looks great. I think it flows with the arm really well. It's healed. It's long healed, isn't it? So it's got that like kind of faded sort of look to it, as healed tattoos do. But ignoring that, I think it's great. I like the yellow and the purple. It looks super, like, that gives it like a Halloween / acid kind of vibe to it, which I'm all about. I like that it goes up his neck. It's reminiscent of that George Clooney tribal on From Dusk Till Dawn that I've spoke about in another video. Let's have a look at it from a different angle. So I found this one, which I think is straight from, the session that it got tattooed at. I think this, again, I just think it looks cool. Like, it's not the best color choices that I've ever seen in a tattoo, but it's got that like 90s, early 2000s, like that like fairground ride airbrush kind of vibe going on similar thing as the Undertaker's, that like Rob Zombie artwork. I think this is actually like it's meant to be a take on like a Hanya, isn't it? Or like a, you know, like a Japanese demon, like a yokai sort of thing. It's got that fang placement that that they have in the third eye and stuff, but it's been done in more like a classic devil sort of style with the goatee and just the way it's been tattooed. They're not the best tattoos I've ever seen, and I'd much prefer if this snake had like some black shading on it somewhere. You know, like just to add a bit of like contrast to it. But again, the lack of black kind of adds to that 90s vibe, which I am a bit of a sucker for. It looks cool. I like him. Let's move on. Next up, we have the man himself, Batista. This guy sort of started creeping into WWE towards the end of my interest in it. I'm not sure what year he came in, and he was in it for quite a while before I stopped watching it. But he was kind of on the back end of my interest with it, so I don't recall too much about him as a wrestler really. But tattoo wise, it's hard to see what this is on the arm, but he just emanates early 2000s, late 90s vibe. He's got that like new metal look about him, you know, like he's got that little, I don't know what you call that. It's not like a chin strap, is it? Because that's when it goes round. A little, is it a soul patch? But like that coupled in with this like tribal, the symbol there, and I think he's got like what looks like a Chinese dragon, maybe. There, and I don't know what this is, but I think it's meant to be tribal, and it looks like it's tribal that's had some trouble healing and maybe scabbed up and picked off, and he's never been and got it touched up by the point of this photo. And then same here, just these huge like symbols on there. I'm never a fan of those, but overall his look, it all goes together, you know. It's the trifecta. He's got the tribal, the Chinese or Japanese text. He's got the soul patch. He is just the complete triangle of late 90s, early 2000s vibe. So I think they're definitely not good tattoos, but I think they suit him a lot, and it goes with his vibe real well. And you know, he seems like he's quite a decent person in real life anyway, so you get some extra points for that, I suppose. But yeah, let's move on. And the final person I'm going to talk about, last time I did a video on this, probably like a year or so ago now on TikTok. I just got loads of people jumping in the comments and been like defending it and stuff, which is weird, you know, like getting super offended that I didn't like his tattoos and like running to his rescue. And if there's anything he doesn't need, it is rescuing, because it is this man, Brock Lesnar. He's got some tattoos on his back that I'll probably talk about in another video, but I'm just going to talk about this one for now. This one questionable tattoo. It's obviously, in terms of being like iconic, it is absolutely 10 out of 10 iconic. But if we ignore the fact it's iconic and let's just look at it as a tattoo, I don't like it. It's not very well done. It's been kind of done in like a traditional style, in that it's like a super bold outline and, you know, just like shading, but it needs so much doing to it to like elevate it into being a cool tattoo, I think. Well, no, it is a cool tattoo. It's just not a very well done tattoo. I don't like the blade at all. It looks a bit like a dick. It's got like, you know, like weird kind of, I think the artist has tried to make it look like a worn blade, but it just looks like a veiny little meat stick. And the fact it's like, it's meant to be sticking into his neck, but all that does is curve the end, making it look even more like a dick. If it had like a sharp point, it'd probably get away with it a bit better. This is quite cool how it sort of like frames his like stomach, chest, sternum area, that sort of thing. This handle, I think it'd look a lot better if it was either solid black or at least had like an element of solid black over on this edge of it, just to add some contrast. I'd say like the whole thing needs some contrast. It could do with like something happening to this middle section. Not necessarily contrast, but just something like maybe like a big thick outline going up the middle, just to make that wobbly mess look a bit neater. These are alright, it's got some black in there, but this like washy grey, I just don't like it at all. It's obviously meant to look like, you know, it's a knuckle duster, isn't it? But if it had some black at this back end, it'd hide this like this blown out line, and then it'd also allow the rest of it to look a bit more metallic. But the fact it's all just one uniform tone, and I'm not sure if this is finished, you know, like I can't imagine he's the kind of person to struggle with the pain of a tattoo, because he is a monster. But it is a hard area to get tattooed, so maybe the guy wanted to do a bit more and maybe he was struggling. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think he should is a questionable word, but could go to someone a bit more well versed in traditional to get it like touched up into being a really cool tattoo. Yeah, I do like it, but it kind of sucks at the same time. But that kind of adds to the reason that I like it. You know, he's just this big caveman dude that fucking looks like he eats people. So having like a kind of dodgy knife tattooed on his chest just adds to his appearance. And yeah, you know, like last time I posted about him, loads of people were jumping in the comments being like, oh, I bet you wouldn't say it to his face and stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, of course I wouldn't fucking say it to his face. It's Brock Lesnar. He's a big, giant man that would kill me. But luckily, I don't have to say it to his face. I can just say it on the internet. Right, that'll probably do for my review of WWE fighters. If there's any more that you want to see me review, I do have some kind of in my backlog that I'm thinking about doing. But if there's anyone else, whether it's like a sports personality or like a celebrity, an actor, a musician, anything like that, let me know in the comments and I'll add them to the list of people that I'm going to look at. You know, footballers, things like that, probably cool. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. See you next time.